At this time, can I have Michael Griffer join me on stage, please? As you can see, Paco is well loved. The Panther Award is given annually to a member of the senior class that the administration and counseling staff feels has overcome great obstacles on their road to reaching graduation and pursuit of their college dreams. While there are many students in the class of 2018 who have persevered to reach their college goals, one student stood out to us. That student was nominated and chosen by a team of staff members, and that student is Michael Griffer. Given the birth name of Michael Griffer and endearingly called Paco by his friends, he stands on stage today a depiction of resilience, grit, perseverance, determination, and humility. A student who has given far more than he has received. A person whose light has shined on others with little consideration of his own needs. A quiet leader who inspires through his personal story, steadily becoming far more than the sum of his scars. Over the course of the past month, Michael and I have spent quite a few hours together, reliving his life experiences. He has given me express permission to share his journey with you today, and Michael and I are both hopeful that the story of his life can serve as an inspiration to change the course of your life. I am not likely referring to you seniors who are preparing for graduation day. This story is for you, the 6th grade boy who struggles at home. This story is for you, the 7th grade girl who is absent too often from school. This story is for you, the 8th grader who lives in poverty and comes from a trauma-filled home. This story is for you, the 9th grader, who may not see hope in your education. This story is for the young Michael Griffer out there, the young Paco, the young boy growing up in a single-parent household, living in poverty, searching for answers as to why he has so much less than many of those who surround him in his school and his community. Michael Griffer was born in Holland, but as an infant moved to Weslaco, Texas, where he lived with his mother, her boyfriend, and multiple siblings. At 5 years old, he was transported back to Michigan into a small trailer in Fenville. 2 adults and 7 children living in a trailer in Fenville. Michael's memory of that time in his life is still pretty good. In 1st grade, he was picked up and moved to East Kentwood. This is where trouble began for Michael and his family. Multiple siblings were moved back to Texas, while Michael remained in Kentwood with his mother. Drinking, partying, domestic violence, and other issues led to loss of employment, deeper despair, and further poverty. Between 1st and 3rd grade, Michael was subjected to 6 different living arrangements and 5 different elementary schools. Many of these moves took place in the middle of the school year and had a drastic impact on Michael's ability to learn and keep up with other students his age. To this day, Michael vividly recalls that time in his life and the stress he felt each time he was forced to move schools, leave classmates, join a new classroom, a new teacher, and make new friends. He says by the age of 8, he was keenly aware that he was from a broken home and that life was going to be tough. He had a loving mother who struggled as a young mom with addiction, substance abuse, and poor choices. Michael cared deeply for her and knew that her childhood was even more traumatic than his own. In 4th grade, Michael, his mother, and siblings landed back in Holland. By happenstance at Lakewood Elementary, where Michael remembers being met by his teacher, Mrs. Van Allsburg, a group of friendly-faced classmates, and a wave of embarrassment. You see, Michael entered that 4th grade classroom as the only student wearing tattered jeans, an old black hoodie, and missing years of early childhood instruction. To this day, he remembers the shame, not about his clothes or his appearance, but the shame he felt when the around-the-world multiplication game finally made its way to his desk. The shame that cursive writing was impossible for him with no prior instruction. The shame that came with any form of homework that needed a parent's assistance. The shame that came with feeling out of place, defeated, and discouraged with school. I knew I couldn't do it. Others knew I couldn't do it. When my turn came, I just sat right back down. I could not ask questions because everyone else just got it and I didn't. They moved so fast, and I had no idea where they were going. Michael also remembers that fourth grade year as a turning point in his life. His teacher, Mrs. Van Allsburg, helped him discover what he was good at, and that was writing. She pointed out his strengths, and he felt verified, gained confidence, and continued to write. It felt good to be on equal ground with something, finally, in school. Michael also remembers meeting the boys in fifth grade. He fondly remembers Nathan, Drew, Tyler, and Max. They accepted him for who he was and did not dwell on their differences. In fifth grade, Mr. Follett engaged him in a daily game of rock, paper, scissors, which helped him begin to warm up at Lakewood. He began to realize what a stable, quality education felt like, and it felt good. The struggles faced by students living in low-income households are not isolated only to academics and education. Participation in extracurricular activities was also difficult for Michael. Living paycheck to paycheck, asking for anything that involved money was an unspeakable idea. Michael often wondered if his classmates and teammates really knew what it was like growing up poor. Did his classmates and teammates realize that he was riding his bike to Rocket football practice every day because his mother did not have her license, there was no car in the household, and there was never any money for gas? Did they have any idea why he was riding his bike to football practice? He remembers wondering why he could not go to practice like all the other kids. But he loved football, so he continued to ride his bike down the road in full pads with his helmet on through all kinds of weather. I found ways to do things that I loved to do. I told myself at an early age that I was not going to quit just because of my situation. I told myself that riding my bike to practice every day would just make my legs stronger and make me a better athlete. I guess I found the silver lining in that cloud. And I always told myself that no matter how bad things seemed for me, I knew someone had it worse somewhere. I realized that life is what you make of it on those long bike rides to practice. Life is all about attitude, and the attitude is one thing that I could control in my life. My favorite quote was from comedian Kevin Hart, who said, "Everybody wants to be famous, but nobody wants to put the work in." I thought, dang, he's right. That's when I committed to putting the work in. The attitude of grit, perseverance, and positivity helped Michael build character which has and will continue to pay off. During our lengthy conversations over the past month, Michael shared many very personal stories with me. One such memory was of a Christmas during his middle school years. He recalls his friends heading off to places like Florida and Jamaica over break. He was overcome with emotion when remembering that same Christmas at his home. The only gift he received was a pillow, a single new pillow, and nothing more. He also recalls time spent at his friends' houses, remembering how they had entire pantries full of snacks. He said, "More snacks in a single pantry than I had seen in my entire life. I thought it was MTV Cribs, but it was really just my friend's house. I was eating Salisbury steak TV dinners every night, and now here I was staring at a full cupboard of real Oreos." These experiences ingrained in Michael a drive to want more for himself and his family. He knew what he wanted for his own family, for his future children, and he knew the solution began with his education. Entering middle school at Makatawa Bay, Michael remembers meeting new people, many new people, some who seemed to come from even more troubled homes than his. He recalls a turning point in his life during a high school graduation party for his older cousin, Lexi Martinez. Michael said, "This was the first time that I saw anyone in my family celebrate education. Lexi was in Upward Bound and was headed to Hope College. She was our family's first success story, and that stuck with me. I saw what success in school did for her, and I wanted that. Grades began to matter to me. Competition with myself became important. I remember Lexi telling me that college could change my life. For the first time, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be in Upward Bound, I wanted to get good grades, and I wanted to go to college." In 7th grade, Michael began researching colleges on his own. He became interested in what college campuses looked like, and he fell in love with Michigan State University during that school year. He also recalls an unsung hero from middle school, his social studies teacher, Mr. Wah Win. Mr. Win had a unique story of his own, Michael says. Not only was he a short guy like me, but he was also a minority male who had overcome a lot of barriers, earned his college degree, and had become successful. Mr. Win was a silent role model to boys like me, whether he knew it or not. During his freshman year at West Ottawa High School, grades seemed to come easy to Michael. His English teacher, Mrs. Amy Wilson, pulled Michael aside one day and told him he needed to enroll in Honors English 2 the following year. Michael had not been placed in advanced courses earlier in school, and at the time did not even know such a thing existed. After finding success in that Honors English class, Michael was recommended for AP Lang. He was also encouraged by his teachers to try other AP courses. He recalls the feeling of satisfaction that came with success in the first AP course. He realized that he could do it and that he should not be scared of it. I was kind of skeptical at first. College courses? I thought, can I really do this? Mrs. Wilson was always there telling me that not only could I do it, but I was going to do it, and that I didn't have a choice because she was making me do it. Michael realized that it was easy to say that he wanted to go to college. But what about all the details? How was he going to actually get there? I felt like college was the expectation here, but all I had was a dream at the time. I contacted former West Ottawa grad and MSU student Michael Sandoval, and I asked him what it was like going to college with 30,000 white kids and only a few thousand Mexican kids. He reassured me that it was great. I knew he was a minority male who had pushed through life's problems and succeeded. I kind of followed his footsteps, I guess. I also realized that my high school was more ethnically and economically diverse than any college that I was going to choose. I knew I was going to be okay. Michael began to meet with the college advisor. He became highly involved in Upward Bound and continued to challenge himself through rigorous classes. The college application process, financial aid, FAFSA, the acceptances, and the decision process all fell into place with the help of his counselor, his teachers, and his mentors. AP Chemistry during his senior year was a challenge for Michael. For the first time, he was in a class where he did not have many friends that he could study with. He recalls the rigor of the class and remember thinking that a degree in the medical field was easier said than done. Michael said, "It's tough to realize that you are not as smart as you think you are." AP Chemistry helped me face that, and it also helped me learn how to ask for help. That will prepare me for college as much as anything. With the help of college advisor Mr. Whitted, Michael discovered and enrolled in the Drews Scholar Program at MSU. The Drews Scholar Program is a support system for historically underrepresented minority students who are pursuing degrees in math or science. A unique attribute of Michael Griffer, and one that most people do not know, is that through all of his struggles, and despite all of the obstacles facing his personal success, he has been one of the most giving students in the class of 2018. He realized at an early age that his personal life story could be used to help change the course for other students like him. In particular, minority males from single-parent, low-income households. He has spent a considerable amount of his own time over the past 2 years mentoring middle school boys. The impact he has made on these future high school grads is undeniable and is captured by middle school teacher Kara Montgomery. Mrs. Montgomery shared the following about Michael's work with her middle school boys. She writes, "Paco is one of a kind. As an adult, I have learned so much from this young man about overcoming adversity, hard work, and most importantly, how to show compassion and true empathy for others. I have had the privilege of watching Paco in action. as he mentored and connected with several of our at-risk middle school young men the last few years through our Pride program at Harbor Lights in Mac Bay. His willingness and vulnerability to share his own personal experiences with these young men created a safe place for voices to be heard, similar feelings to be shared, and ultimately for mentoring and personal growth to occur. For me, the most beautiful part of Paco is that he doesn't just say what needs to be heard, he leads his own life by being an example for others to follow. His compassion for serving others is evident not only in his words, but his actions. Amidst the pain and struggles he has experienced in his own life, he openly shares his journey with grace and dignity, all the while honoring and respecting his family. Although I do my best to communicate with Paco the level of impact he has had on our middle school young men, I don't think he will ever truly know the difference he has made in these young lives. I recall a specific day when he came in and worked alongside of some of my 7th graders. Our topic of conversation this day focused on opportunities and how they are directly correlated with the choices we make. The specific group of 7th graders was really struggling with making good choices both in and out of the classroom. I sat in the circle and watched Paco take the lead. Eyes were glued to him, and he shared pieces of his own story. I witnessed young men for the first time see hope in their own future, as they could so easily relate to Paco's story and his similar struggles. I listened as he encouraged them to always believe in themselves, to take advantage of the resources available to them, and to ultimately be a good person with integrity, to surround themselves with positive people who bring them up. From that day forward, change began to stir in the lives of every single young man in the classroom. At school, student behavior changes were evident and visible to teachers. After-school tutoring offerings were taken advantage of. Appointments during lunches with teachers were being made, and young men began believing in themselves and their own abilities, even amidst their adversity. Paco still spends his only free afternoon on Fridays after school tutoring a small group of 7th and 8th grade young men. He shows up every day, afternoon, at Ottawa Bay in the library to tutor, on his own time, out of the compassion of his own heart. He may never know the impact those hours will have on the lives of these young men, but I do hope he knows how much I have appreciated him. Michael referred to teacher Amy Wilson as his second mom multiple times during our conversations this month. Mrs. Wilson was the first teacher to push him to take advanced courses. Mrs. Wilson displayed a tenacious belief in him that he did not have in himself. She encouraged him to believe in himself, connected him with mentoring opportunities, helped him write and edit college applications, scholarship essays, and became a friend as well. Mrs. Wilson shared the following with me when she found out that Michael would be the Panther Award winner. She writes, "It's hard for me to put together the right words to properly describe Michael Griffer. Michael is someone who has worked hard to get everything in his life. He has done so without complaint. Growing up, he did not have a lot, but instead of being something that brought him down, he used it to fuel his ambition. He has never been one to turn down a challenge, even if it was a silly one. One of my favorite memories of Michael is when Max Magliozzi swore that he was a faster runner than Michael. Obviously, we had to see, so that started the English 1 sidewalk race wars. Michael dusted him, his words, and throughout the year had many challengers. He helped solidify the team culture of our classroom by including everyone, and if I remember correctly, even slowed down a bit to make certain races look closer than they actually were. That's the thing about Michael, it's hard to put into words. He has the ability to bring people together that's just so natural and a part of who he is. I wish I could always count on him to work with anyone in English or our seminar class, without complaint every time. In fact, he thrived on it. He loves to help people. Michael feels a great responsibility to be a positive role model for his younger brothers. He wants to help guide his brothers and set an example for them on how to be strong men. The fact that he so clearly sees the impact he has on them as an older brother, and he welcomes that challenge with open arms, it just blows me away. When I was looking for students to help mentor middle schoolers, Michael was the obvious choice. He was immediately on board and excited to make connections, tell his story, and help other boys reach their potential. He told me his friend Israel Solano would also be a great mentor, and the two of them have consistently gone to the middle school over the last 2 years to continue their relationship with the boys. They even decided to go on their own to help tutor. They did this without fanfare and just because they saw the need. He has this knack for seeing people, really seeing people, and helping them reach their potential, even if they don't see it yet themselves. Watching Michael take challenging courses throughout high school and immerse himself in the woke community has made me so proud. He's going to do great things, and I know this because he's already making an impact and doing those great things right here at WOE. I asked if Michael had any words of advice that he would like to share with students who come from similar backgrounds, and he said this: if you don't like your life right now, you got to do something to get yourself help. Where you come from does not have to impact where you're able to go in life and what you are able to do. Reach out to your teachers for help. Take the step and engage in the opportunities available to you. Figure out what happiness really means. Help others whenever you can, and most of all, never give up. Statistically speaking, a minority male from a low-income single-parent home who is highly transient during his early childhood years would typically struggle to graduate on time. Most certainly, this demographic is far less likely than their peers to enroll in advanced placement courses or be accepted to and attend college. However, Michael Griffer will graduate on Thursday, May 24th with a diploma from West Ottawa Public Schools. He is enrolled to attend Michigan State University, where he is set to receive multiple scholarships and pursue a degree in health sciences. Michael embraced his reality, engaged in the opportunities available to him, built quality relationships with teachers and mentors, and is now set to change the course of his family's history forever. Michael Paco Griffer serves as an important, paramount example of what can be achieved at West Ottawa through determination, grit, perseverance, positivity, and by intentionally accessing the many resources and supports available. Michael's story also illustrates how the staff at West Ottawa have worked tirelessly to eliminate the expectations gap and close the opportunity gap between minority students and their peers. Expectations have been set high for all students, and rigorous academic opportunities have been built for all students. It is students like Michael who serve as a wonderful example of what can be achieved when a student engages in and takes advantage of what is offered. Congratulations, Michael, for overcoming great obstacles, destroying the odds against you, and showing us what is truly possible through hard work. You are the 2018 Panther Award winner.